So I wanted to address it's bit of a controversial topic, something that I've spoke on before and was inspired to share again. Really acknowledging and love what Candace Owens is doing with exposing the truth. I've been following the Harvey Weinstein story. And I remember when the whole Me Too movement came out, I was like, this is a part of the agenda, especially when you saw who was leading it, Oprah. And as you start to awaken of the truth of the things that are coming out, you will start realizing that she was probably one of the biggest groomers of bringing people in with the whole human trafficking. So the angle that I wanted to go on, there's a lot of things up. I've witnessed friends that have been targeted by very wounded women that have been calling out that they've had some form of sexual assault, that they've been raped. And full disclosure, I have the freaking t-shirt. So I've experienced the experience of rape, and the reason that I say that is I can understand the whole psychology of it, what happens, the silencing, the shame that happens post it, the silencing of the voice. And I have a longer video on my YouTube about it. And you know what? I actually have deep gratitude for the experience, because I wouldn't have that deep level of understanding into human conditions, human behavior. And also, just very briefly, I actually had to when I was ready to to go through the healing process, I had to really address, hey, what was the part, and this is going to be hard for a lot of people to digest, what was the part that I played, as in, what was my inner state, my frequency, my vibration? I'm sure by now a lot of people realize that whatever state, whatever frequency you are putting out, you will unconsciously, unaware, you will be projecting that out into the world. So my inner state was extremely angry. I had a lot of anger towards the men, had daddy issues, abandonment, rejection. I felt in a state of, and I'm not saying it was my fault, because it's not anyone's fault when you have that experience, but yet to really step into a place of freedom. And rather than finger pointing that freedom, you have to learn, you have to take some form of self-responsibility of, hey, I had a lot of emotions of worthlessness, helplessness, hopelessness, and an attitude of, come on, fucker, have my day. So then my choices were not so, I was putting myself into situations like getting in strangers' cars and dangerous things like that, that all sort of preceded leading up to the event. So the reason I wanted to hop on here, that's a little bit of a background of a story. Now from that, I had a lot of shame. I was a slow learner. I found it very, very hard to say no. I found it very challenging to set boundaries, especially when it came to intimacy. And it was over many, many years, and I had different experiences with different individuals where it was a no for me. But then it was like a no, no, yes, no, yes. Wasn't a clear boundary, right? And then I would end up going along and I would have an intimate experience. And the reason I bring this up is what I saw within the Me Too movement was there was this massive surge of women coming forward because they'd had a sexual interaction that they were a no, but they were like, oh no, yeah, no, and not clear in their no, and not really setting that boundary of their no. They then went through and had a sexual experience, and then they felt shame for it. And because they felt shame for it, rather than addressing the shame or the guilt or the self-loathing, or the embarrassment, whatever it is within them, the shame is the biggest one, they then started coming out and going, me too, that happened to me. I'm going to call that rape. That is not rape. That's not rape. Now, if you're in a relationship, and I had relationships, codependent relationships, extremely unhealthy, where often I would say no, but I was so hungry for affection that I gave up my no as I was seeking for some form of love. It was this drug, it was this addiction to this very toxic relationship, like we were feeding off each other. That was abuse, but yet I was staying in the abuse. So this is where I come to the point. So what I love about what Candace has been doing, she's been really bringing open. I have my eyes open to the whole Harvey Weinstein story. And if you haven't looked at it, go and look at it. And he got, all these women came forward of me too, which actually turned out to be false allegations from them. And what also came out from there was that, here's the thing, having experienced rape, having experienced being very wishy-washy in my no and feeling shame, and having experiences where then my body started going into states of disassociation, numbness, disconnection, probably hence why I explored somatic therapy, and I'm good at what I do because I recognize and my nervous system can sense, right? But here's the bottom line. If you've been no one that has been raped will go back for seconds with the same individual. So I recently, one of my friends, and I'm keeping his name, just respecting him, what I witnessed was he got accused. He got accused of rape by someone that he had an interaction with, and they went back for seconds. Now, when you've been raped, you're not going to go back and go and do it again. It's absolute oxymoron. Now, with my beautiful friend, what I also witnessed was so-called other friends completely threw him under the bus. Threw him under the bus because it was like, oh, you're going to ruin my brand. Bottom line, people, if you're not willing to stand for what is right and stand for those people in your life, your brothers and your sisters, stand alongside them and like throw them under the bus and say, you're going to ruin my brand. Here's the bottom line. You're weak. You're weak-assed. You know better. So, yeah, I just wanted to share on that. There's so much I can say on the whole Me Too movement. I remember it was like, me too, me too, me too. And a lot of people going around lighting fires. And there's a lot of people that genuinely have, sadly, experienced it's way too common rape and sexual assault and sexual abuse. So I'm not denying that. And I've seen so many male friends, that all a woman has to do is go, oh, I feel unsafe. You're making me feel unsafe. I feel threatened. And the public will naturally jump to the conclusion that the man has done something. And sadly, there's a lot of manipulative women. Another little bit of a share, and maybe this sounds like a bit of a rant. I want to get this out. And I'm happy to talk deeper on it as well, because there's so much on this that I want to share, the psychology of it, and all the games that people are playing. Now, this individual that squealed this with my friend, and said, and like apparently she went back for seconds and it happened again, which to me is like a red flag. It's like, well, you're just lying, or you feel shame, rather than, hey, fucking own up and take responsibility and go, hey, I didn't own my no, and really start doing some healing work. Now, this individual, even more like really concerning, I feel, is opening up space and holding space for women that genuinely probably have experienced sexual trauma and assault. Now, when I see that, I see someone that's highly manipulative, playing the victim, but really what they're doing is now they're the perpetrator, because they're bringing innocent, unhealed, traumatized individuals into their space, having an energy exchange, taking money off them, holding space from a unhealed, from a wounded perspective, hooking into their energy, raping their energy. Yeah, I'm going to call it out. Siphoning off their energy. And that is unhealthy. And that's what we have playing out in a lot of society, and many people are unaware of it. So yeah, I've got the t-shirt, I've done it, I've had the experience, I've wrote about it in my book, I've talked about it. Totally in a place of inner peace with it, take full responsibility in the place, the events that led up to it, have no hate towards the individual. Actually, I'm in a really good place of forgiveness, which began with self. And yeah, I wouldn't be able to authentically hold space for others that have gone through sexual assault, SRA, so satanic ritual abuse. I've worked with a lot of clients like that, and there's something the nervous system recognizes, and the nervous system will feel safe. I will say this on the thing of consent as well. I feel there's something really fucking creepy about, is it safe to touch you now? Is it safe to touch you now? Can I now touch you? Is it still safe to touch you? I find actually that's creepy as fuck. I think we need to remember about body language, and when each individual can really honor their own boundaries, men and women, and be okay with what their boundaries, and have worked through all of their wounds of rejection, of abandonment, then you're not afraid to set boundaries, right? It's only when you've got unhealed rejection wounds and abandonment that then you will find it very wishy-washy to have boundaries. So I think for each individual, it's very important to know what your boundaries are, unapologetic, be able to express them without making the other person wrong, really be in that place of empowerment, of choice, of self. Then it's a natural thing that you have passion, and you know what, in that you always have that ability to say no. There is a challenging thing though, when someone's in the height of orgasm and they've gone into that point and they're in that point of orgasm, then going to them, no, 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 no. It's probably a little bit too late, because the whole brain goes shh, and they're on this wave of orgasm. So if you're going to say no and you're going to express, you need to do it early on and courageously own what it is within yourself of, hey, that doesn't feel comfortable, I'm not really enjoying that right now. And someone with a human being with common sense will pause and will listen. And yeah, so I do think we've become over sort of in this fear-based system to trap people. And if you are someone that is calling things that haven't happened, well, it's your invitation. Maybe it's time for you to start clearing up your mess, Start acknowledging the part that you've played. And yes, by all means, really do your inner healing work. It's not your fault. And I also believe that at some point, for myself, when I came back into this time around in this life experience, I chose certain experiences so I could unlock my gifts and I wouldn't be who I was. So, yeah, there's a lot of healing that needs to happen on the planet. Oh my gosh, that's a long. I'm going to put this up on my YouTube. I really look forward to your comments. And yeah, I'm happy to go into this deeper because it's a really massive topic. And it's time for us to open our eyes and yeah, really standing alongside our people and not throwing people under the bus because you're afraid of how others are going to judge you because of your brand. That's bullshit and it's weak. Thanks for listening.